A rising death toll from Hurricane Maria and increased security in Dominica. That's our top story in Caribbean Newsline for Monday, September 25. From the CMC News Center in Bridgetown, I'm Nicole Best. Good evening. The official death toll in Dominica from Hurricane Maria has now reached 27. Police Chief Daniel Carbon, who made the disclosure during a press conference with Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit and other security officials on Monday, also reported that 27 people have been confirmed missing and there are a further 18 unconfirmed missing. Skerrit said the names of the deceased and missing will be posted soon. Carbon reported that police were kept busy after Maria hit, but stressed the security situation in the island is now under control thanks to the help being given by security personnel from across the Caribbean. They have had to deal with incidents of looting, and the police chief noted that up to Monday morning, 40 arrests were made in relation to criminal matters and 86 people were arrested for violating the 4 p.m. to 8 a.m. curfew. There was also a prison break late Sunday in which 4 inmates escaped.
3 of them were on remand and 1 was serving a term. We have captured 2 so far. They were encountered last night. 2 of them were shot and they are now undergoing treatment at the Princess Margaret Hospital. 1 of them, which was of very concern to us, was on a murder charge on remand, but is now nursing his injury at the Princess Margaret Hospital. Yesterday, we had an incident where somebody tried to loot J.R. Stephens and Company Limited on King Rodolphe Street, their supermarket. That person was encountered by the police and he was also shot because he was armed with a weapon. He too is undergoing treatment at the Princess Margaret Hospital. And so, as the Prime Minister earlier stated, that really and truly the police force was very challenged, both as it relates to search and recovery and dealing with the massive looting. But we now have situation under control. We have our regional forces here and they are assisting us very well in that regard.
Deputy Police Chief Davidson Valerie further assured that during the hurricane recovery process, crime would be minimized as much as possible, and he urged the public to work with police. Meantime, Prime Minister Skerrit assured the country that the distribution of supplies is one of the top priorities of his administration at this time, and he appealed for order as he assured aid would be distributed equitably and to all who need it.
We're getting additional assets, helicopters. The Dutch are here, working very well. They're extending the stay. We're also getting additional help with helicopters, and they'll all be available. We are sending teams to Mariga to be physical on the ground, so that once we get the supplies, it should come almost literally from the planes to the helicopters and to the flatbed trucks and distribute to the people in massive. We're creating in the Roseau area and Boodle area distribution points. What we're seeking to get from the residents is for us to be orderly. If we're orderly, you will get much quicker. If we rush, it's going to be a challenge. So when we stand in the line, we'll ensure that everybody gets some supplies as we go along.
Skerrit also gave an update on communications, electricity and water supply. He reported that electricity should be restored to some areas on Tuesday and later this week, and work on the main water supply is ongoing. More cell sites are also being restored and coverage by both Flow and Digicel is improving. Prime Minister Skerritt's update on the situation in Dominica came 2 days after he pleaded for assistance at the United Nations General Assembly, where he said his country found itself at the front lines of a war it did not create. In a passionate address on Saturday, he declared an international humanitarian emergency that is centered in Dominica, but also encompasses many other Caribbean countries that have borne the brunt of the negative effects of climate change, even though they have contributed very little to the problem. And he called on international community to help his island of 72,000 people.
Today, we need all the things required in a natural disaster that has affected an entire nation. We need water, food, and emergency shelter. We need roads, bridges, and new infrastructure. But we also need capabilities of delivery. I call upon those with substantial military capacities to lend us the rescue and rebuilding equipment that may be standing idle, waiting for a war. Let Dominica today be that war, because currently our landscape reflects a zone of war. The battle we face has brought us to our knees. We need resources now so that we may move with purpose to the task of rebuilding our beautiful island home. We will need to rebuild homes and villages. We will need to rebuild communities, schools, roads, and bridges. We will need to rebuild a country, and we cannot do it alone.
Well, the Dominican leader and other Caribbean officials were also adamant in their speeches at the General Assembly about climate change mitigation assistance being absolutely necessary for the region. One of the tools for that is the Paris Agreement, which was adopted in December 2015. And Dominican-born Commonwealth Secretary General Baroness Patricia Scotland says that agreement is non-negotiable. She tells CMC News now is the time for a redoubling of the efforts of member states to ensure the climate accord takes full effect.
We must advocate even more trenchantly to help the world understand that the Paris Agreement is non-negotiable. For those of us on the front line across our Commonwealth, the pain and suffering of climate is immense. We have seen mudslides in Sierra Leone. We have seen flooding in Pakistan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, and India. We have seen the whole of the Caribbean region devastated. And we now hear, just a few days ago, about earthquakes in Vanuatu, 6.4 on the Richter scale. So this reality is our new reality, multiplicity of events happening one after the other, and we must respond, and we must respond now.
The Secretary General says the Commonwealth Secretariat is developing a regenerative model with a view to reversing the impact of climate change, adding that completing this model is vital.
And so as we go towards Bonn at COP23, the Commonwealth will continue to work on the Blue Charter, continue to work on our blue economy, and continue to see how we can collaborate and communicate with all of those who are going to be part of the solution. And that means each and every one of us. Every man, every woman, every child has something we can do. And I hope we will do it, and we will do it now.
Meanwhile, although Antigua is now accommodating the approximately 1,800 residents of Barbuda after the sister isle was left uninhabitable following Hurricane Irma, it's opening its doors to Dominicans seeking refuge following the devastation left by Hurricane Maria. Policies to receive Dominican citizens were discussed during a meeting of the Cabinet Subcommittee responsible for natural disaster planning and response. And while Dominicans already have a right of entry and an automatic 6-month stay once they have their passport, driver's license or voter's identification card, arrangements have been made for those without those forms of identification. In a statement issued over the weekend, the Office of the Prime Minister said they will be permitted to enter Antigua after completing a form the Immigration Department has specifically created to meet the needs of those who have lost their documents in the hurricane. It said security would still be a priority, though. Police and the Office of National Drug and Money Laundering Control Policy will work together to determine if any of those people leaving Dominica are lawbreakers. And the Dominica Police Force and the Joint Regional Communications Center will also be asked to assist in that effort. Last week, Trinidad and Tobago also opened its doors to Dominica, with Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley saying his administration would waive the immigration requirements for residents of Dominica for a period of 6 months. Antigua and Barbuda's Prime Minister Gaston Brown could not hold back tears as a young Barbudan heaped praises on his efforts to deal with the impact of climate change in the region. He was welcomed by a large group of party supporters upon his return on Monday from the United Nations General Assembly in New York.
Sir, I would like to thank you for your concern you displayed before and after the passage of Hurricane. Gave the orders for all of us to evacuate, so that we should not be battered by a second storm that was on its way. When we were placed in shelters in Antigua, and you asked Antiguans to assist us, which they did, your act of kindness did not go in vain. We are eternally grateful to you. Thank you for the wonderful speech you gave at the United Nations conference about global warming and the harmful effect it has on our Caribbean islands. It was very informative. Indeed, you are a great leader. Thank you, sir, for all that you have done once again.
Coming up in Caribbean Newsline, we hear a first-hand account from someone who witnessed the aftermath of Hurricane Maria. Stay with us. There's more news after the break.
In a place where legends start, the beach is just the beginning. So live a little for the exhilaration and the colour of every moment, where time is and life is a spirited event. Immerse yourself in the culture, the music, the people, the island. Love Antigua and Barbuda. Embrace an experience that leaves you breathless, from cricket to sailing week to carnival and more. Antigua and Barbuda, the beach is just the beginning.
Do you want a real Barbadian experience with peace and tranquility? A home away from home feeling? Come and stay at Best E Villas. We offer 2 amazing locations to choose from: Prospect St. James or Christchurch. Plan a staycation for your anniversary, birthdays, summer or winter breaks, or any special event. Best E Villas is located in close proximity to our lovely beaches. Call us now at 246-425-9751 or visit us at bestevillas.com and make your booking for the best in villas.
It's hard to believe, but in just a few weeks we're going to mark the anniversary of the 2016 presidential election. Now, half the country appears to still be in shock, however, as the mainstream media has refused to let go of the fact that their candidate did not win. The Hillary Clinton Blame Game book tour was center stage the last few days. It even managed to strip the horrific damage of 2 major hurricanes from the headlines. Now, Clinton's growing list of whose fault her loss was now includes the Democrat Party.
Welcome back. CMC's own Peter Richards was on the ground in Dominica following the passage of Hurricane Maria. Peter, who has Dominican connections, reported on the damage done to his family's home, but fortunately learned that there were no deaths. And he's back from Dominica and is in the studio with us. Peter, good evening and welcome.
Good evening.
Could you tell us first and foremost, what would you use to one word you would use to describe what you saw and experienced in Dominica in the past 5 days?
Well, if you say one word, I would say to a war zone. Typically a war zone, things you probably would be seeing in, if you look at pictures in Lebanon, in the war, Syria and these places, the buildings devastated, the hillsides. It's totally a war zone.
Okay, and and I know you've used the term war zone, but compared to what you've experienced with other hurricanes in the region and with the devastation you've covered, I think was in Haiti, and you were in Montserrat as well for one of the hurricanes.
You go as well as in Dominica for David, so I could do the comparison.
Give us that.
And
can it be compared?
No. In the words of Curtis Augustus, who is the former Secretary General of the Caribbean Congress of Labour and the President of the Waterfront and Allied Workers Union, he said, Peter, this one is not 10, not 20, but 30 times much more dangerous and much more devastating than what we had in 1979. I think in 1979, yes, a Category 5 storm at the time, but it was hovering around 160 miles. The winds were at least 160 miles per hour. This time you had the winds clocking almost 200 miles per hour. I spoke to Dr. Richard Clark, he's a senior lecturer at University of the West Indies, and he was part of the CIDEMA team that did the rapid response to the impact of the hurricane. And he was saying that at least you could roughly say 95% of the houses were significantly impacted upon.
And what would you say is Dominica's most urgent need at this point in time?
Well, the most urgent need in situations like that is getting relief out to the people. Today, the Prime Minister held a press conference indicating that roads are now opening up and what have you. The whole of last week, it was total chaos. They didn't have, the roads were not open, people were being buried. In fact, on Saturday, I saw a mass burial taking place. So now that he's spoken about, the roads are opening up. And once the roads start to open up, you will see food getting out to people because they will be able to work. And the Prime Minister said that he had been able to get through the UNDP a program through which he will be able to pay people in communities to help in the clean out. It's going to be a total effort, and it's going to be a massive undertaking to get Dominica back to where it was, some semblance of where it was before.
You were on the ground for approximately 5 days. Did you see any evidence of regional support on the ground while you were there?
Well, we saw that significantly in terms of, particularly in the security area, because the Dominican police in some areas, some police officers, from the time the hurricane hit until now, when I was leaving, they have not been out. They have been on duty. And even during the looting, you're seeing the looters were saying, you can't stop us. And the Dominican police fellas appeared tired. And I mean, but then you saw the security teams coming in. You saw the CIDERA, you saw the regional security teams and what have you. And that has helped to put some form of law and order back into Dominica. The Prime Minister said on the issue of the curfew that he will take the orders from the Commissioner of Police and the Commander of the Regional Security Forces to guide him as to when he should lift or if they should lift the curfew.
Okay. And given the scope of the disaster, how long do you think it's going to take the government and people of Dominica to get back on their feet?
That's a good question. I would say within the first 6 months, you have to see something going on because you have to start putting people back to work. You have to start children going back to school and what have you. But the reconstruction effort, I said this will take years.
Some have been saying decades. Are you going to say the same?
I will say that. And I think Dominica has to look at, in Dr. Green's words, new building codes and stick to the OECS building codes in order to move forward.
You have had an opportunity to drive through Dominica just before you left, and you have shared with us some of the images. We've seen some on screen right now. Can you just describe for us what we're looking at? What area is this?
We're looking at coming down from Maho into that's Canefield. That was totally devastated. If you see some of the areas there, total devastation in these areas. So we're looking at that. Then you also, I hope we get to it on time, places close to the port. the Canefield Airport. This is the Springfield Bridge. On the side, as we drive in, so on the side you will see some of the devastation. On the hilltop, this is the area where the Prime Minister residence, not his official residence, but private residence would be. All these places have been devastated. You see a car capsize on the side.
Okay. Peter Richards, thank you very much, and it's good to have you back safe in one piece.
Thank you.
Stay with us. We'll be right back. Well, ahead in Newsline Sport, West Indies fall further behind in the 5-match one-day series against England.
It's where legends start. The beach is just the beginning. So live a little for the exhilaration and the colour of every moment, where time is and life is a spirited event. Immerse yourself in the culture, the music, the people, the island. Love Antigua and Barbuda. Embrace an experience that leaves you breathless, from cricket to sailing week to carnival and more. Antigua and Barbuda, the beach is just the beginning.
Do you want a real Barbadian experience with peace and tranquility? A home away from home feeling? Come and stay at Best E Villas. We offer 2 amazing locations to choose from, Prospect St. James or Christchurch. Plan a staycation for your anniversary, birthdays, summer or winter breaks, or any special event. Best E Villas is located in close proximity to our lovely beaches. Call us now at 246-425-9751 or visit us at bestevillas.com and make your booking for the best in villas.
We make such an emphasis on the world stage with our culture, with our music, with our speak. Why not with our food? We've enjoyed immense success with our annual PAN event hosted by CB Foods, and you know, we saw what that was and what it became, and we thought, well, why can't we do a true food festival showcasing the culinary talent and offerings of our local chefs and restaurants?
A blistering 94 from Chris Gayle and a career best spell from Miguel Cummins failed to top Moeen Ali's third one-day international 100 and Liam Plunkett's best ODI bowling that swept England to a 124-run victory over West Indies in the third ODI on Sunday. Batting first, England got up to 370, their 5th highest ODI total, as Ali reached his milestone from 53 balls, which was the 2nd fastest by an Englishman. Here are the highlights.
Straight down the ground. It's in the air, and I think it's going to be taken. It is taken. Well, there you go. And that's not a bad delivery. That's hit the top of off stump.
Stokes and Root making big scores before departing, but the best was yet to come.
Drag leg side and dragged for 6. Up in the air, make that 36. Full toss. Will he get it to mid-on? He does. Will it get over? Oh, what a grab that is! Oh, unlucky. Drag leg side. I think it's going to all the way.
From 39 to 100 in just 14 balls, Moeen Ali putting England in charge.
This time long off. Yeah, tall man there. They finally hit the Yorker left boot. Yeah, I think the left boot works.
And the talismanic Gale struck 9 fours and 6 sixes from 78 balls to lead the Windies batting, but the Caribbean side was dismissed for 245 in 39.1 overs.
I think that's 6.5.
Lots of appealing from behind the stumps. And we are going to look upstairs.
Hope and Samuels gone, but Gale was still looking a threat.
Well, that one's straight down the ground, but fully out the ground. We'll have 6 more as well. Oh, that could be close, that could be out.
A risky single, some top fielding, and Gale out. The West Indies at this point, however, doing well with the run rate and in the game.
27th, 6 of the day. Yeah, simple. Johnny Bairstow turns to the crowd. Close, yes, out.
Oh, that's another strong shot down the ground. Ungainly hack that's going straight up in the air and straight to England's captain. First up, Googly didn't pick it. Rashid now has 3. Long off is there. This could be Pfeiffer for Plunkett. It is Pfeiffer for Plunkett.
And the result meant that West Indies now trail 0-2 in the 5-match series following an 8-wicket defeat in the first ODI at Old Trafford and a no result in the second ODI at Trent Bridge. West Indies players wore black armbands during that third ODI in tribute to those who lost their lives in recent hurricanes which have swept through the Caribbean. They will also participate in a fundraising drive in the ongoing series to raise money to aid with the relief efforts in the region. As part of this arrangement, there will be collection points manned by the Red Cross at the 2 venues for remaining matches in the series. The initiative began with Sunday's match played at the County Ground and will continue during the 4th match at the Oval in London on Wednesday. The final match is carded for the Aegis Bowl in Southampton on Friday. Still talking cricket, Jamaica Scorpions will be going into the regional 4-day tournament without some of their key players. That's because they have been called up for regional duty in first-class matches against Sri Lanka. But as we hear in this report from TVJ's Renado Brown, the team's head coach believes the absence of veteran players might be a blessing in disguise.
Robert Sam was wanted at the start of his second season in charge of the Jamaica Scorpions, but it's something the local franchise has to deal with as several players will be out of the setup due to West Indies A and 2020 duties. 2 players who will be off with the West Indies A team are fast bowlers Renard Leverage and O'Shane Thomas.
Well, it's a great feeling for me when that get called up in the West Indies A team, so it's a big improvement for me. It's a plus for me, so I just need to go out there, work hard, and hopefully I get some wicket in this air tour coming up, and I'll see where I move on from there.
Going into the A team with a little bit more experience, as in last year, no first class experience, got injured. I did some work with the national training team, and I'm looking forward to going into Sri Lanka game with a little bit more idea of what I'm doing, so I'm really excited and ready to go.
They won't be available for the first couple of games, and they are the 2 premier fast bowlers in terms of pace, and then we have Jacobs, who's one of our leading wicket takers throughout the year, so we will lose those, and John Campbell, who's our #1 opening batsman, so we are losing 4. We'll lose a couple more. Andre McCarthy is going to the Bangladesh League, Chadwick Waltham going to the Bangladesh League. So it's, as I said before, everything is different, everything is new, and we'll have to see how it goes.
And that's the sport. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Grow your business or promote your event through the services offered by the Caribbean Media Corporation and CaribVision. Our distribution provides a platform on cable, terrestrial television, and websites. We cover carnivals and events from across the region. We can bring your event live and alive to the world. For music makers, program producers, businesses, we can expand your reach to in excess of 2 million households daily. Our other services include news updates to enhance your media products, studio space for program and development. We can facilitate the launch of new products and services and training. Contact us and we will help you unleash your creative ability, develop products and services, and provide the medium to watch them grow. Contact Loretta Skeet at cmccaribbean.com or call her 1-246-467-1044 or 1-246-253-3889. Call and book your carnival or event today. Again, the major developments of this day. The official death toll from Hurricane Maria in Dominica now stands at 27. Meanwhile, police report that the security situation is under control following massive looting after the storm. And in sport, West Indies down 2-0 in the 5-match ODI series against England. That's Caribbean Newsline. For news and sport around the clock, log on to carnanews.com. We'll be back here again tomorrow, but from all of us at CMC News, thank you for watching. Do have yourselves a good night.